This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's 9 p.m. I'm Ben Leo tonight.
Are you nervous? Why are you shaking?
I don't know. When I get in the presence of evil, it makes me slightly anxious sometimes.
Oh, I'm all right. I'm a Christian. There were nearly 50 arrests of incensed Palestine Action protesters in Westminster today, and they weren't too happy to see me there either.
Are you gay?
Am I gay? I know you guys...
Looking for a date?
I know...
Are you looking for a date?
But has prescribing the group as a terror organisation made any real difference at all? Also...
He's now towards Leicester Square. It's high risk through pedestrians towards Trafalgar Square.
So Mo Farah packs his family's bags and heads to the Middle East, to Qatar, which he claims is far safer than London. Is he right? And more than 1,200 illegal migrants have crossed the English Channel since Emmanuel Macron and Sir Keir Starmer signed their migrant returns deal just 48 hours ago, rather. Will we ever stop the small boats? Plus, shocking new developments in the recent Air India crash as we learn the fuel may have been cut off from the jet just before disaster. Could rumours of sabotage be closer to reality than we thought? Joining me on tonight's panel, we have the journalist Linda Jubilee, former Labour Special Advisor Paul Richards, and the former Scotland Yard detective Peter Blexley. And what do you reckon's going on here?
Wahi Guru Ji Ki Fateh. Good morning, Chief Constable Guildford. I'd like to wish all our officers and staff and the community my very best wishes for this coming Vaisakhi.
Very good evening to you. Hope you've enjoyed the sunshine today. Some people decided to spend their Saturday supporting proscribed terrorist organisation Palestine Action down in London's Parliament Square. The Met Police, who you can see here getting to work, they did a great job today, by the way. They arrested 42 people, mostly for allegedly showing support to the group, who were proscribed after they broke into RAF Brize Norton and damaged military aircraft last month. Tonight, I won't be focusing on the arrests at today's protest, but actually the calibre of some of the people who did attend it. I wanted to share the footage with you because I think it paints a clear picture of the kind of people we're dealing with when it comes to this growing and, quite frankly, tiresome Israel-Gaza situation. They are radical leftists who have absolutely no concept of reality and who are, in some cases, actually quite nasty. The day kicked off with this guy who ran over to me and tried giving me some journalism tips.
Say what you said to me again. Sorry, just repeat it. So we're recording. You said, Ben...
Don't push a certain narrative. Okay. You're a journalist. Yeah. You should just be impartial.
What's my narrative?
Be like an observer.
What's my narrative?
You tell me.
No, you came up to me and said, don't spin a narrative. So what's the narrative I'm spinning?
The arrest is happening now.
Right, so you come up to me and said, don't spin the narrative, but you can't tell me what my narrative is that right?
No, I know it, but I want you to explain it.
You don't know it, do you? You don't know
I've heard a little bit, so I want to know
What have you heard? Tell me what you've heard.
You said that those people are supporting a terrorist organization.
Well, they are. Palestine Action is a prescribed organisation, yes?
At the moment, yes.
Right. So are they supporting a prescribed organisation?
I can't tell. That's up to the police.
Mate, come on. Let's just be straight. You just said they're a prescribed organisation and they're supporting one.
Well, it depends.
So did I tell the truth?
You'll have to go to each one individually and see what they think.
Okay, we'll end it here. I think I've proved my point.
Good luck.
You came up
go
to
and
me.
Talk to them.
You came up to me saying I'm spinning a narrative. You couldn't tell me what the narrative
based on
is.
what you said
then you
earlier,
said I'm
yes.
spinning something there when you just agreed it's a fact. So
based on what you said earlier.
All right,
yes.
we'll try again a bit later. Thanks, man. Good luck. OK, so that was the first guy. Elsewhere, I'm going to suggest that there are actually a few unbalanced people down there today as well, including this guy, who we'll see more of later, who told me I have no soul.
I want to say something to you.
Yeah.
Do you believe is there a genocide?
In Gaza?
Yeah.
No.
No. And I believe you. You're not a human. You haven't got a soul in you. I don't want to talk to you.
Oh.
That's all I can say.
Okay, this is GBNews.
I know.
Did you so you only speak to people? So you only speak to people who shares your argument, is that right?
Excuse me.
You're saying it's not genocide, man. What the heck you want me to say?
I just want to know what your thoughts were. You were talking to me off camera earlier.
My thoughts are from Kashmir to the sea, Palestine and Kashmir, Iran must be free. That's it. You want to hear more?
Yeah, I'd like a chat. Yeah. Which unfortunately spitting on me, but there we go.
No, they don't.
Dangers of a chat. So I took my soulless body to speak to this next guy who was heckling the fact I worked for GB News off camera. He thought the fact I did so was evil. Are you nervous? Why are you shaking?
I don't know. When I get in the presence of evil, it makes me slightly anxious sometimes.
Oh, I'm all right. I'm a Christian. I think people who invade military bases in the UK and cause millions of pounds worth of damage, and they have caused millions of pounds worth.
Why did they do it?
Why did they do it? That's beside the point.
Why did they do it?
Is there an excuse for criminality? Because they're opposing what's going on in Gaza.
If it's in a just cause, of course there is.
Okay, so
what do you think about the suffragettes?
You support
what do you think
criminality?
about the suffragettes?
So we need.
What do you think about the suffragettes?
This won't work unless we have a conversation.
No, it doesn't work because I'm not feeding your narrative.
Well, no, I just want to have a conversation with you, my friend.
That somehow I'm not your friend. I'm really not your friend. Believe me, I am not your friend.
The unpleasantness continued with this lady who was heckling Met police officers. But when they didn't oblige, they carry them out by their hands and their feet. A lady there, maybe 50, 60 years old, being taken into the back of the van. Tensions rising here between some media and coppers. Let's see if we can speak to some protest. Do you think what you just seen there is wrong?
Who's talking to you? Move. Irrelevant.
Do you think what you saw there is wrong? You disagree with it?
Are you deaf? I said I don't want to talk to you.
Why are you so angry? It's a nice... I asked this next lady if she thought Palestine Action should have been prescribed.
Sorry, I don't negotiate with terrorists.
You don't negotiate with terrorists?
No.
What, Palestine Action?
No, yourselves.
I'm a terrorist.
Good.
What have I done that's terrorism? And this next lady who I'm about to show you, she ran off to try and get me in trouble with the police for daring to ask her a question. I asked her the question specifically because, as you'll see from the clip you're about to see, she was filming me with her mobile phone. Hello. Why are you here today? Do you mind me asking? Do you think Palestine Action should have been prescribed? There's a lot of disagreement about that. Do you think they should have been prescribed a terrorist organisation?
Stop harassing me, please.
Okay.
This man is harassing me. Can you do something about it?
How is he harassing you?
He's putting that thing on my face.
I asked you a question. You could have said go away. You could have asked me to go away.
From him and he came around me. So you don't care that he's harassing me?
And I saw you do exactly the same as you were in his face. So you could walk
Because he
away
came
from
around me. Because he came around and put the thing on my
He's
face.
not there now.
He came around.
We'll carry on about our day.
So we can feel safer.
But even more chillingly, this next guy told me that everyone should support Hamas.
Israel is a terrorist.
Israel a terrorist?
Yes.
Okay.
He has to be arrested.
Are Hamas terrorists?
No.
No.
They are defending their country. They are fighting for their freedom.
So do you,
and Israel is the occupier.
Are you saying you support Hamas?
Yeah. We support the people who liberate Palestine.
You saying you support Hamas?
No, I'm not for Hamas. We support the people who liberate Palestine.
All right, I'm going to go, yeah?
So you don't support Hamas?
We support the people who liberate for Palestine, who fight for Palestine, and who oppose Israel. Okay, thank you. Huh?
Can you give a straight answer? So do you support Hamas or not?
Why should you give a straight answer? I am giving you that we support people who liberate Israel.
You said Hamas are just defending their country.
Yes, they are supporting the country. Yes.
So you support what they're doing?
No, I don't say I support. They are defending the country. Everybody should support them.
Everybody should support them, apparently. And talking of Hamas, this woman seems to have forgotten what happened in Israel on October the 7th.
Saying you can't condemn Israel for killing babies and civilians, and at the same time not condemn Hamas for doing the same thing. That's my point.
No, Hamas hasn't been doing this since 1948.
As to what happened on October the 7th? Did babies and civilians die on October the 7th? No, and the fact you don't have an answer, is telling. There we go. Very telling. Two-tier hypocrisy.
And the day concluded with our friend, the shouter, again. Later on, he and a photographer friend of his ran over to me after the Met Police escorted us to safety when a mob surrounded me and my cameraman. And after sticking up a finger at me, he bizarrely asked who I like sleeping with.
He kicks off every time.
Hello, let's play cat and mouse. Let's play cat and mouse. Hello, I'll smile for the camera. There you go. Cheese.
Are you gay?
Am I gay? I know you guys.
Are you looking for a date?
I know.
Are you looking for a date?
You're not my type, unfortunately, mate.
Sorry.
No.
You're not my type, brother. Sorry.
What's that?
Maybe next weekend I might be tempted. You'll have to pay me though. I didn't think Muslims like gays anyway.
So there we go, 42 arrests, support for a prescribers organisation, but equally as concerning in my book is the swathes of support from people who don't seem to have a brain cell between them. Well, let's get the thoughts of my panel now, the former Labour Special Advisor Paul Richards, former Scotland Yard Detective Peter Blexley and the journalist and broadcaster Linda Jubilee. Good evening, panel. Hope you've all enjoyed the sun. Linda, we'll start with you. Ladies first, what's your take on, A, the demonstration today, the fact that people are supporting a prescribed organisation, but B, the selection of attendees I just shared with you there?
Well, the fact is, it's a prescribed organisation, prescribed as terrorists. They've caused millions of pounds of damage at Brize Norton, which is a military base. That's it. End of. They're terrorists. That's it. OK, so there's no discussion about that. But the fact of the matter is, they witter on about having a just cause. Now, and then they compare themselves to the suffragettes. I don't think there's any comparison there at all. It's just so annoying.
What's the difference then? Because that guy I was trying to speak with, but he was, you know, intent on interrupting me and not having a conversation, and then said I was evil.
Well, one of the differences...
He was saying the suffragettes did the same thing.
Well, one of the differences is that the suffragettes knew exactly what they were protesting about. They knew exactly what they wanted to get, which was the vote for women. They knew exactly how they were going to try and get it, which was mostly protest by peaceful means. And that is not the same as going to Brize Norton and spray painting aircraft that are supposed to be defending our nation with paint.
Yeah.
Because that does have a serious effect on the engines as well. I've been told that.
Well, it's £7 million worth of damage. Paul Richards, what's your take on all this?
Well, I think the tragedy and the irony is that these people put the likelihood of Palestinian statehood further away. So the cause that they espouse, which is a legitimate, democratic, pluralistic state for the Palestinian people, is being fatally undermined by these kinds of idiots. And there is a weird psychosis on the left, the cosplay, the putting on of the scarves, all of this sort of rhetoric, largely motivated by anti-Jew feelings, sort of hatred towards the Jews, anti-Semitism. And the great irony is also they think they're the good guys.
Yeah.
So they think they have the moral high ground when they are espousing views which are morally repugnant.
And they're always just so nasty as well. I mean, I'm not a sensitive Sally, but I mean, it is people on the left, Peter, who are always very vicious, very nasty, quick to try and shut you down, censor you. I mean, I did a report with Dawn Neeson in the day, and they came and draped me in Palestinian flags and so on.
Ben, on a beautiful, sunny July Saturday afternoon, when you could have gone the length and breadth of the country to a village fete, to a church fair, to the glorious and magnificent Wimbledon, or to Lord's where there was a test match on.
Could have gone to the Cotswolds.
You could have had strawberries and cream. You could have had a slice of Victoria sponge and a lovely cup of tea. But no, you went to Parliament Square to be surrounded by that vermin, so we don't have to. Thank you very much indeed.
That's where you're going with it. Thank you. I'll take that. Thank you very much.
I was wondering.
On a more serious note, there were a couple of concerning clips in there, one including the guy who seemed to say he supported Hamas, then clocked on what he was saying and tried to water it down and dilute what he was saying. I mean, that's worrying, isn't it?
My note was serious, Ben, because everything I mentioned was the very best of British. And that rabble are the very worst that we have to offer, supporting a prescribed organisation. I'm delighted that the Metropolitan Police have acted today and have arrested so many. I think there is some blame laid at their doorstep for appeasing the Palestinian protesters. Previously. Yeah. But today, clearly, they arrested people in numbers, and I'm delighted.
But can I just say very, very quickly, because I was watching it live this afternoon when you were down there, bravely facing these people, Ben. But there was one guy who said, you know, you asked him about terrorism. He said, well, it depends what you mean by terrorism. Do you mean legally, the legal version, or do you mean the technical dictionary version? I thought, for goodness sake, terrorism is terrorism. It comes actually from...
Well, that guy said terrorism in his definition was just a threat to life.
No, that's not.
Well, that's not what it is.
That's not what it is.
But, I mean, I wonder if those sort of 50-odd arrested, how many are sort of just, you know, middle-class do-gooders who've been brainwashed?
Well, they all were, I saw them.
Who are now, you know, their lives are ruined and may well face criminal... they may face prison sentences, actually.
Oh, how delightful a prospect that is.
Yeah, and they were, I mean, they've been arrested and proceedings are active, so you need to be careful with what they're saying. But, I mean, you're not wrong, they were of... I mean, one guy was sort of 50, 60, another lady I saw getting bundled into the meat wagon was about...
who've somehow fallen in with this crowd and you know, for 2 years now have been brainwashed. Now they're going to face all kinds of charges.
Credit to the Met Police today. There was an incident with... I just finished doing a piece with Dawn Neeson in the day. We went off air and suddenly, like a swarm of wasps, we were surrounded, my cameraman, our security guy who was with us, we were swarmed. And it got a little bit tetchy. And the Met Police, Peter, I have a go at the police from time to time. I do respect them, but I criticise them when they deserve it. But today, they were brilliant with us. They really helped us out, and we, you know, were allowed to get out of there quite safely. And then when they had to, they nicked these people.
And you know what? If any of those people that surrounded you had got gloved up and entered a ring, which none of them would do, they wouldn't last a millisecond.
What, with me or you?
Either of us. They are cowards. It is mob rule, the tyranny of a minority mob rule, and well done the Met for acting robustly.
You know what, I think I
today.
might stand a chance as well if I put the gloves on.
Well, probably not wrong. Right, panel, thank you very much. Great start. Let us know what you think at home. GBNews.com/your say. I can see all your comments coming in. Lots of you calling them renter mobs. Actually, that's a great point. Maggie, you've said that. Good evening, Maggie. They are renter mobs. I said earlier today, just before we move on, I recognised 2 or 3 of these protesters today from being on Just Stop Oil protests from last year. They were the same people. So I don't know who's funding them, where they're from, who's coordinating it, but that was a fact. Right, we move on. Still plenty of time to grab your chance to win our biggest cash prize so far today in the Great British Giveaway. An incredible £54,321, 54321. Here's all the details you need to win.
We're here at Down Hall in Essex to enjoy the finer things in life, and it's your chance to win £54,321 in cash. It's like having an extra £1,000 in your bank account each week for a whole year, which means that you'd be able to indulge in treats whenever you wanted to. That extra cash each week could send some of those day-to-day financial stresses packing this year to enable you to sit back, relax and do nothing. Make sure you don't miss out on our biggest cash giveaway to date.
For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 £6 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
All right, very good luck to you. Up next, Mo Farah has packed his family's bags and headed off for Qatar. He claims Qatar and the Middle East, parts of it, is far safer than Britain, specifically London as well. Is he right? We'll go head-to-head on that next.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk then? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we are proud to stand for you, for the Britain you love, for the communities you live in. That's what makes us the fearless champions of Britain. Its voices and its values. Because we, at GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Hello, welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight, only on GB News. Now, I'm not sure if you saw this, but Mo Farah, one of Britain's most celebrated Olympians, who was offered safety and sanctuary by this country as a child fleeing Somalia, well, he's made a pretty controversial claim, saying Qatar is safer for his family than London. Despite growing up in the capital after arriving as a child refugee, Mo Farah has now moved his family of 5 to the Middle East. He told the Daily Telegraph, "It's much safer than London. I started to worry living in London because you can educate your kids as much as you can, but if they get in the wrong place at the wrong time, you see a lot of stuff happening. That is a worry." Crime in London, of course, and all across the UK is clearly a worry for all of us, but is Qatar honestly safer? They sit slap bang in the middle of one of the world's hottest conflict zones, with Israel, Gaza and Iran all being close neighbours. And let's hope none of Mo's kids end up being gay because they could end up being arrested, prosecuted and deported, like this British citizen was last year in what his family insist was a dating app sting manufactured by Qatari authorities. So the big question tonight is Mo Farah right to say Qatar is a safer place to live than London? Joining me to thrash this out are the Iranian dissident Niak Ghorbani and founder of the independent coalition Javed Bashir. Good evening, chaps. Thank you for your company. Javed, I'll start with you. What's your take? Is Mo Farah right or wrong?
If you look at the numbers, crime rate, it definitely is right. Qatar comes top 3 in terms of one of the most safest countries in the whole world, according to the Numero Safety Index. Street crime hardly ever exists. There are other issues and whatnot, but then the big question is about what is the price of that safety? It's freedom, ultimately. But if you just look at it from a numerical point of view, crime in London is apparently massively high.
So Qatar is safe. You think it's one of the safest countries in the world, but that comes at a cost of freedom. OK, Niak, you were giggling a little bit there.
Who is a criminal here in London? You have to actually answer this question first. And who made the chaos here in London? You have to find out first and saying, yeah, where is safer? If you saying that Qatar is more safer than London, it's really, you have to go to, visiting your psychologist. I mean, I think, because, Qatar is always funding the terrorists and supporting Hamas.
But we're talking about domestics here, not about the international affairs. But if you look at the numbers, you can argue with the numbers, whether the numbers are right or wrong. Street crime hardly ever happens. And there's a reason why he's sort of packed his bags and gone out there. But there is a price to be paid for that. And if he's willing to pay that price, that's his choice.
It's look like you saying that Iran is more safer than London. For example, Tehran is more safe than London.
People of affluence.
How you actually
are you measuring
choose between them? Yeah.
The Libya Safety Index is a classic example. So if you look at the numbers within London, within the UK in itself, London is proportionally much more dangerous, more violent.
Who made London more dangerous?
Who made London dangerous, Nick? You said that twice now. Who has made London dangerous? Migrants?
Yeah, migrants. The Islamists and leftists who washing their brain, actually the Islamists washing the leftist brain, and they are making chaos.
Where have they come from? Where have they come from? Where did they come from? So you can't blame migrants for everything that's happening.
They're coming from Middle East, they're coming from Africa, they're coming from all around the world. They're washing their brain.
There was no crimes before immigrants were there. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Niak,
There's no crimes. Is that what you think? There's no crimes in London specifically before the immigrant population arrived. So you're talking about the Irish, the Jews, the pagans that were there before them, centuries ago. What's your time frame and what you're comparing here? So there is a problem. Nobody denies that. But if you look at the numbers on their own, Qatar is a safer place, but it's at the cost of an authoritarian regime where you've got no freedom, no dissent, no ability to actually have your individual rights.
For example, the leader of the Hamas leaders are there and safe. They are safe.
Niak, I will say,
they're under diplomatic immunity.
Javed, I'm just going to ask Niak a question. I would say that I would partially agree that migration has had an effect on crime all across the UK, but in Qatar and even Dubai, the UAE say, I've heard senior people from the UAE publicly say, we don't have the level of Islamists in the UAE as we do in London. So if I was moving out of the UK or London, I don't live in London, thank God, but if I was moving anywhere, I would probably go to the UAE simply because it's safe and it's a decent place to raise children. I mean, do you accept that fact?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
But yet you don't think London is safer than Qatar?
Listen, when you seen yesterday, the report from the Parliament came out and say the IRGC made a plan to actually threaten the Iranians, As Iranians, I feel the, threat, but I never saying that Iran is safer than London and UK. This is totally wrong when someone. This is actually insult the British society. If you're saying, yeah, UK, the Qatar is safer than London.
Yeah.
It's really insult.
So did you say Gaza is safer than London?
It's look like you know the Israelis choosing for their safety going to
Gaza. That Gaza is safer than London, or did I mishear?
Where is safer than London?
Sorry, what was your point?
Okay, we'll finish out, I think, because we're running out of time. Javed, thank you so much for your contributions. Javed Bashir, you are the founder of the Independent Coalition, and Niak Gabani, the Iranian dissident, who you say, Niak, you spotted me down in Parliament Square today, did you?
Yes,
yes. Did you have fun?
Really, I think that they are, for example, the leftists and Islamists openly supporting terrorists in Parliament Square, and they blaming the police and saying, asking the police, let's go, let's find a better job.
Yeah. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Really appreciate your contributions and your company. Have a good rest of your weekend. Thank you very much. Let us know what you think. gbnews.com/your say. Lots of you saying Sir Mo Farah's just gone to Qatar for tax reasons. Somebody else, Barrow Boy, you've said Dubai is a hellhole, and so is London. Dubai is full of charlatans and social media types, while slave labour happens. Very materialistic. Oh, I agree with that. And very authoritarian. No rights for many. London, on the other hand, is a crime-infested. Can't repeat what you've said. You can imagine what Barrow Boy has said there.
And when Qatar is safe, let's go to
There
Qatar.
we go. Right, coming up, more than 1,200, yes, 1,200 illegal migrants have crossed the Channel since Emmanuel Macron and Sir Keir Starmer, our dear Prime Minister, signed their migrant returns deal just 48 hours ago. 1,200 in 48 hours. Will we ever stop the boats? Back in a tick.
I hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
It's hot and sunny for the Greek islands at the moment, and plenty of hot sunshine in southern parts of Spain and Portugal too. But for northern Spain and northern Portugal, a bit more cloud coming in off the Atlantic and some outbreaks of rain possible here. Small chance of a shower in Catalonia as well, but some heavy showers likely over Italy, particularly affecting Rome. There's that sunshine in Greece, which will continue into next week. And the showers in Rome should clear away, and temperatures will be rising here into next week too.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good afternoon and welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Well, it's going to be a very hot weekend to come with strong summer sunshine out there, but always some low cloud just lingering in the east. So a ridge of higher pressure is extending across the UK, keeping things settled with low pressures out towards the east and west. So plenty of late evening sunshine out there for many of us. The odd shower maybe across the far west of Northern Ireland, but otherwise later we'll see the return of this low cloud from the North Sea push its way further inland. So cloudier skies expected more widely, especially across the southeast, but a warm night to come. Temperatures not dropping far below 16 or even 18 or 19 degrees. So that leads to a warm start to Sunday, a bit more cloud in the forecast, and that cloud will just linger across coastal areas as we start Sunday morning. Best of the sunshine across western Scotland to start. Northern Ireland, fine, dry. Plenty of wall-to-wall sunshine, and likewise for the majority of Wales and the southwest of England, but cloudier skies across eastern areas to start Sunday morning. So as we go through Sunday, like I said, there will be a bit more cloud in the forecast compared to Saturday. We may even see some showers just bubbling up across northern parts of England, perhaps even parts of Wales as we go through the afternoon. But many of us still seeing bright or sunny spells out there. It may not be as hot as Saturday, but temperatures still climbing widely up to 29, possibly even 30 degrees. Now, a bit of a change comes into store as we go later on into Sunday as low pressure starts moving in from the west. So cloudier skies, especially across the southwest of England with the odd shower. And then that leads into a more unsettled start on Monday and Tuesday with showers, longer spells of rain, temperatures generally returning to average.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Ben Leo tonight, only on GB News. Now, GB News has exclusively revealed today that more than 1,200, you heard that right, small boat migrants have crossed the Channel since the UK Prime Minister and French President signed a migrant returns deal on Thursday, so barely 48 hours ago. That's over 1,200 largely unknown people who will be housed, fed and watered at the expense of the British taxpayer. Pardon me for doubting if this brand new one-in, one-out deal will solve this crisis. Earlier this week, when Mark White, our Home and Security Editor, and Nigel Farage were in the Channel, the French Coast Guard seems more interested in getting their life jackets back than stopping the boats.
So this dinghy that was being escorted by the French Navy gave them 40 life jackets. There were obviously people on board without life jackets. And now, would you believe, the French Navy have collected the life jackets back.
So Keir Starmer's failed promise to smash the gangs and stop the boats led GB News and the Daily Telegraph's Camilla Tominey to write in her paper, this shameless Labour government could be gone far sooner than anyone imagines. So, welcome back to my panel, Paul, Linda and Peter. Paul, we'll start with you. What did you make of Camilla's comments there? This Labour government, shameless Labour government, could be gone far sooner.
Well, we live in a parliamentary democracy and we have a thing called the Quintennial Act, which means elections have to come within a 5-year period. The Prime Minister gets to decide when, and as long as he's got the confidence of the House of Commons, he can carry on for another 4.5 years.
OK, thoughts on the 1,200 over the last 48 hours? I mean, it's hugely embarrassing, no, for the Prime Minister?
It's a serious crisis, which is why the French President and the British Prime Minister stood at that press conference for an hour talking about it and putting this deal in place. I mean, the people that arrived today, it's before the actual pilot scheme has been introduced. Yeah. So, you know, and also good weather and all the rest of it. And the Prime Minister did say there isn't a silver bullet, which I think is right, but the pilot scheme, if it works, can be rolled out and it will deter people from coming.
And how many a week, Paul, do we know will be
Well, we can't put numbers, can we? Well, we don't know. I think that number of 50 that was being bandied around has been denied by Yvette Cooper, I believe, so I don't think we know for sure.
Well, she was on GB News Breakfast the other morning and wouldn't give a number.
No, but we saw this with the Tories, though. They put a number on things, and then when they didn't get that number, they looked like idiots. So
well, that seems a bit flimsy, doesn't it, Peter?
Oh, it's the most flimsiest of arguments imaginable. Are you familiar with the Okie Kokie?
Yes.
The song, the Okie Kokie? Well, I've done a little bit of a rewrite because this policy is such utter garbage. And it goes like this. You take an immigrant in, you throw an immigrant out. In, out, you boat them all about. You do the Starmer Kokie and you turn around. And it goes on and on and on. I'll spare you the other verses.
Goodness me.
But that's the nonsense of it.
Yeah.
It's utter nonsense. Paul with his excuses lined up. It's an excuse. The Tories gave numbers. All that kind of hollow, just piff. It's a nonsense. It's a national emergency, and something should be done. If only.
Go on, Peter. What would you do? Because that's what we come back to every week. What's the single thing you can do? What would you do?
No one is very clear about what's actually called for here. Now, there is no doubt that this is a small component part, which, if it was increased and amplified and rolled out properly, could make some effect. But actually, you're dealing with human trafficking here on a scale of drug trafficking, worldwide drug trafficking.
And how did the war on drugs go? Anyone want to guess?
Well, badly.
Absolutely failed.
Yeah,
decade after decade.
Because you cannot talk about stop the boats, smash the gangs, because it's not a one-line soundbite. This requires global, forceful action. Remember the series Mafia? Right, hear me out. That term Mafia came about because everyone said that drug trafficking worldwide was run like McDonald's, a worldwide chain. And that's what's happening. The people that run these gangs aren't out on boats on the channel.
Linda.
They're in a high-rise somewhere running an organisation.
Linda, I will disagree with you on one point you made there, which is this requires global action. I don't think it does. I think the UK needs to take inspiration from President Donald Trump when they bombed Iran. They didn't consult the UK. They didn't consult the EU, the US. They didn't go to the UN or NATO or get international reviews and consult lawyers to see whether it was legal. They acted in their own interest and went to Iran and dropped bombs from those B-2 bombers.
How are you not going to take global action when the heads of these gangs are all over the world?
Because you turn the boats back, you can do it under the UN Convention of the Law of the Sea, and you say to France, stuff it. You are a hostile state. You've done nothing to stop this invasion of England and the absolute pillaging of British taxpayers.
I agree that's a
and you
component
say,
part.
stuff you, France.
I agree it's a component part, but what you've got to do is cut the head off the snake.
Peter, I wouldn't global action or just some British.
Well, I just need to clarify from Paul. Are you promoting me to Prime Minister now for this segment while I speak?
Heaven forfend.
Is that because you're saying you did ask me what I do?
Well,
what would you do?
The reason I said that, and I wasn't being rude, but, you know, we come back to this week after week.
No, answer the question, please. Are you promoting me to Prime Minister? Because then I'll give you my version of what I do.
There aren't any simple answers. Unless you're about to come up with one.
If you're promoting me to Prime Minister, then yes.
If I could, I would, as you know.
Step one, sack Hermer, the Attorney General. Get a lawyer who's not a lefty, almost enemy of the state. Get somebody in who's going to challenge international law, who's going to back us up, who's going to do much of what Ben said and bring this nonsense to an end.
But if we break relations with France, they're going to send more over. You've got to do it through actual cooperation with the Belgians and the French.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's not one thing. It's a half a dozen levers. Big levers have to be pulled.
It's one thing, and that's an emergency.
That is one description, but what I'm talking about is it has to be a multi-pronged solution. There's not one solution here. You have to pull on every single lever.
I think there is, Linda. I think there is one solution.
No.
I think there is one solution. You turn it back and you tell France to do one.
You see, when you talk about migration...
On a day-to-day basis, you've got to get to the heads of these gangs. They're all over the world.
But when you talk about modern politicians and migration, they're all scared to do anything robust for the fear of being branded racist, right? Your party and Blair started all that in 1997, and all those tentacles of spreading fear under the guise of political correctness, now in the school of wokery, has made people terrified to call a spade, to say things as they are, and to talk about immigration because you're wonky lefty lot and all those embedded idiots with lanyards and bad attitudes would call you a racist.
We've got to move on. Last word very quickly, Paul.
Well, that's why we say smash the gangs, because we need to, because those...
Spread the illegals, that's what you're doing.
Smash the networks. That's
Spread the illegals.
Smash the networks.
A wide range of opinions, very honest debate, and I will say as well, in the interest of Lord Hermer, Sir Keir Starmer's friend, he would, of course, deny if he was here being an enemy of the state, but there we go. Peter's entitled to...
I did say almost.
Right, coming up, shocking new developments in the recent Air India crash as we learn fuel may have been cut off to the two engines just minutes before disaster. Black box recordings have revealed some pretty astonishing revelations. Could rumours of sabotage be closer to reality than we actually thought? A former pilot joins us next, live to reveal all. Back in a tick.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Chu, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GBNews family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight, only on GB News. Now, families of the Air India crash victims are now demanding answers. That's after a preliminary report into the Air India crash indicated switches to both engines' fuel supplies were turned off seconds after the jet took off. The aircraft ploughed into a medical accommodation block with black box analysis, so far unable to rule out, quote, improper, inadvertent or intentional action that caused switches to be moved from the run position to cut off, which essentially cuts the fuel off to the engines. Cockpit audio recordings also confirms that one of the pilots asked his colleague, "Why did you cut off?" The other replied, "I didn't." Well, to find out why those switches would be turned off is former airline pilot and aviation expert Emma Henderson. Emma, thank you for your company tonight. Really appreciate it. What was your take, first of all, on the revelations today from this black box recording?
Well, I think, as other people have said already today, the report really gives us more questions than answers in many ways, because whilst it tells us more information that we didn't have before about the sequence of events before the crash, we don't know which pilot was which. We don't have the full cockpit voice recording to tell us what else was said, if anything, in the flight deck. And we don't know if these switches were moved manually by a person or if something else happened for them to move. So there's still lots of questions there. But what we do know is that after takeoff, the fuel to the engines was cut off.
Yeah, Emma, in your experience, you've obviously flown jets and airliners. Are you familiar with these switches? I mean, have you flown Boeing planes similar to where these switches might be found? How easy is it to cut these switches off?
No, I haven't. So I'm an Airbus pilot, so the switches are not the same in the Boeing flight deck as they are on an Airbus, and I've not flown this aircraft type, so I've been quite clear with that about that. But the point is, you wouldn't switch the fuel supply off to the engines just after you've taken off. It's really those switches, to shut the fuel supply off to the engines on shutdown on the ground, or if you did need to shut an engine down during flight because it had failed, and that's something you might do in the cruise, for example, if something had happened. But during takeoff, your focus is on getting the aircraft off the ground into flight mode and getting the landing gear tucked away into the fuselage of the aircraft, which we know didn't happen.
What's your
landing gear was down.
What's your intuition then, Emma, on this case?
It's very difficult to tell, and also not knowing the intricate workings of that particular flight deck, it's very difficult to tell whether this, and also without being an expert, we've got to remember it's experts that are looking at this who understand the aircraft very, very well. Is it even possible for this to have happened without the switches being manually moved? What I do know is that those switches are switches that you need to lift and move, that you can't just knock them. You actually have to lift them up, a bit like in some cars where you have a gear stick that you have to sort of lift up before you put it into reverse, for example.
Oh, well, that's interesting, isn't it? So it's not as if you could just knock it with your knee by mistake. And I guess there'll be a switch, and maybe you don't know, being an Airbus pilot, is there a switch for each engine, 2 switches?
There is a switch for each engine, I do know that. But, one of the things that will be investigated, or is continuing to be investigated, and there is a reason why the information that we've been given in this preliminary report, which had to be released at 30 days, it didn't have to be made public, but it did have to be released, like it had to be to exist after 30 days. And the reason it's not a full report is either because they don't know any more answers, or because they're still trying to puzzle together exactly what happened in those moments, and really very, very few moments after takeoff, when, remembering that one of the pilots certainly would have been very, very surprised at what had happened, and almost certainly both pilots would have known that this was almost certainly unsurvivable.
OK, and my colleague Peter Blexley's here. He's got a question for you, if you don't mind. Peter?
Of course.
Hello, Emma. Black box recordings, are they merely audio recordings, or is there any element of video recording within them?
No, so there are 2 black boxes. They're not actually black either, but they're known as black boxes. And the 2 black boxes, one of them is a cockpit voice recorder, and the other is all the other data that goes on the aircraft, like what flat position did we have and how much fuel was going into the engines, what was the airspeed, what was the altitude, that sort of stuff. So one contains data and one contains voice. Now, as far as I know, there is no video recording in... I don't know of an airline that has video recording in its cockpits. It's voice only, but it will record the voices of the pilots, which go through microphones to each other, and into the cockpit voice recorder, and also any transmissions between the aircraft and the ground.
OK.
In light of that, Emma, do you think the time has come, then, to have cockpit video recording as well?
I don't think so personally, no, because, whilst this is a terrible tragedy, we still don't know exactly what happened. It may transpire, that this is not not a human error. We've still got to wait for those answers. But I don't think putting videos in the flight deck is going to change anything, to be honest with you. I think putting procedures in place to make sure that if this does turn out to be a human error, training is done correctly, but also peer support is better in airlines across the world. As we saw, if this does turn out to be something that was done deliberately, we saw with the Germanwings murder-suicide in 2016, lots of measures were put in place in airlines across the world to make sure that pilot mental health was better known about and better dealt with.
Yeah. Emma, just one more question, if you don't mind, from Linda Jubilee.
Hi, good evening, Emma. I spoke to an engineer and a pilot, a serving pilot at the moment. I just wanted to find out whether this is correct. The engine cut-off switches have to be put in the cut-off position as part of an engine restart if the engine has already failed. Is that correct?
Not having flown that particular aircraft, I can't actually give you I can't give you a sensible answer on that. I'm sorry, but it would be the case that you need fuel. Basically, it's like even with a car engine. If you've got no fuel, your engine won't run. And we know that the engines came back. The crash report says that the engines came back to below the minimum idle speed, and what that meant is that they were no longer. That's what allowed the propeller at the bottom of the aircraft is called a RAT, a ram air turbine. That was out. We know that was out. And that was another indication that the engines weren't producing the amount of end speed that we need them to produce in order to power the hydraulic systems. So, without having flown that particular aircraft type, I don't know what that procedure would be. I'm sorry.
OK, Emma, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Really appreciate your expertise and your time as well. And hopefully, for the sake of the victims' families, we get some answers, at some point in the near future.
Absolutely, and that's got to be the end goal, hasn't it?
Yeah, Emma, thank you very much. Emma Henderson, former airline pilot and aviation expert. Panel, thoughts on this? Again, it's hard for me to say. I'll just be speculating, but it does point to something slightly fishy, I'd argue.
Well, it does, Ben, but it's interesting that the Indian trade union for the pilots said that they are sort of doubting the way this is being skewed towards the pilots' faults, and they're saying these early findings are just early findings, and, as we know, it's got to be done within the 30 days, but there's an awful lot more going to come out on this in subsequent reports, so I think we need to be careful.
Also, I think Boeing's share price rose today. They would be very, very anxious for this not to be a mechanical fault and for this to be pilot error. But one of the things you do know from the tiny fragment we've heard from the black box recorder is that this is a highly pressurised situation. Both pilots would have thought that death was imminent. They would have known how serious this was.
All the more reason why cockpits should have video recorders in them. Very interesting that a pilot pushes back against that idea.
What's the argument against it?
I can't see a valid one. I cannot see a valid one. Every aircraft should be fitted as standard with cockpit video.
But they probably get, the voice recorder and the data recorder. That's very, very thorough.
Yeah, video would help as well. And video wouldn't be a bad idea, would it?
Further forward, I'm not sure.
Why would you push back against it? Why would anybody push back against it?
Supermarkets, don't they? They have them in supermarkets. So the people working in supermarkets have, body cams. Why can't pilots? It's
Formula One drivers.
I don't
Why push back against it?
I want a dash cam in my car.
Yeah.
Not saying no particular reason. I just not particularly keen on having it, just in case.
Just in general, yeah.
What? And then if you had an accident and somebody tragically died, don't you think that would be a good idea?
No, that's a good point.
In pursuit of the truth, that old-fashioned concept of trying to find out the truth.
No, I agree. I like my privacy. Maybe I'll change.
But she is right about...
people are not going to be watching it, Ben. You don't have to stream from your car when you're driving.
No, with this Chinese super embassy.
She is right about one thing, though, that the whole recording, it raises more questions than it answers.
Yeah, a video will give you the answers. Boom.
Right, stick with us on Ben Leo tonight with the newspaper front pages are coming imminently. Some big stories, including a big royal scoop coming up next.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed home battery storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good evening and welcome to a GB News weather update from the Met Office. Well, we've got another warm day in store on Sunday, then turning more changeable Monday and Tuesday with temperatures returning closer to average. So we've had this ridge of high pressure extending across the UK through today, bringing widely fine and settled conditions. There'll be lengthy late evening sunshine across the west through this evening, but out towards the east, low cloud returning from the North Sea and pushing further inland. So cloudier skies across the Midlands and the southeast as we start Sunday morning. But it's going to be a warm and uncomfortable night once again. Temperatures 12 to 17 or even 18 degrees. So a warm and humid start to the day on Sunday. Plenty of sunshine out towards the west into Scotland, but low clouds still lingering across eastern coasts. Plenty of blue sky across Northern Ireland to start the day. Likewise for Wales and the southwest of England. Plenty of sunshine here. A bit more cloud just into parts of the southeast as we start Sunday morning. And in general, there'll be a little bit more cloud in the forecast on Sunday overall. But otherwise, plenty of sunshine once again across Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, southwest England. A few showers may just bubble up into Wales and some parts of England as we go into the afternoon. But for many, it's fine, it's dry and it is warm once again. Perhaps not quite as hot as what we've seen on Saturday. So as we go through Monday, that's when we see a change. So low pressure becoming more dominant with showery outbreaks of rain spreading in from the west and moving its way north and eastwards. So some heavy downpours for northern parts of England and into Scotland where it could turn thundery. Showery again on Tuesday, then a mixed picture on Wednesday. Temperatures generally feeling a little bit closer to average. Bye-bye.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed home battery storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Imagine having an extra £1,000 to spend each week for an entire year. £54,321 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to spend however you like. £54,321 in cash could be landing in your bank account this year. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Good evening, it's 10 p.m. I'm Ben Leo, and breaking tonight on the front page of the Mail on Sunday tomorrow, there it is. Could the War of the Windsors be nearing an end? Key aides of King Charles and Prince Harry meet to begin reconciliation talks. Me and my panel will be discussing these bombshell developments imminently. Elsewhere, The Sun are reporting that the government is going to introduce ID cards, Tony Blair anyone, for migrants as ministers look for ways to stop illegals working. Will it work? The Sunday Express isn't convinced by the Prime Minister's deal with France this week. I'll be joined by Fleet Street veteran David Wooding. And what's going on here?
Wahi Guru Ji Ki Fate. Good morning, Chief Constable Guildford. I'd like to wish all our officers and staff and the community my very best wishes for this coming Vaisakhi.
Welcome along to Ben Leo Tonight. The first of tomorrow's newspaper front pages have just dropped. Let's take a look at the Sun on Sunday. Interesting showbiz story. Sex attack arrest on the set of EastEnders. Stars are in shock during filming. There's been a scuffle before police swooped in to make an arrest. A woman had complained to a fellow extra. A woman had complained that a fellow extra had tried to kiss her. A source said she was very distressed. The Mail on Sunday tomorrow. World exclusive, big story in the royal quarters. revealed the secret Harry Peace Summit. So this is from friend of the show, Charlotte Griffiths, the editor-at-large of the Mail on Sunday. She's written tomorrow, King Charles and Prince Harry's senior aides have held a secret peace summit, the Mail on Sunday can reveal, marking the first significant move towards resolving their family feud. Should he reconcile with his son, the King? And Charlotte's with us tomorrow, by the way, just to get stuck into that, and lots more royal gossip. And The Observer, the battle within, how Gaza divided the BBC and threatens its independence. Lisa Nandy, the Culture Secretary, has questioned the broadcaster's leadership, and senior editors at the BBC lawyer up. The Sunday Telegraph, some good stories on here, including a great picture of the Princess of Wales receiving a standing ovation at Wimbledon today, and the anti-Semitism is rife among the middle class. That's the Sunday Telegraph, which we'll endeavour to show you in just a sec. Welcome back, panel. Paul, you mentioned at the top of the last hour about Palestine protesters, and, I mean, you called this, nail on the head. Anti-Semitism, this is the headline in the Telegraph, anti-Semitism is rife among the middle class.
So this is the oldest hatred, but it's got these new forms that keep re-emerging, and it's becoming increasingly mainstream for people to say and do things which are modern versions of anti-Semitism, which is the oldest hatred towards Jews, of course. So people treat Israel entirely different from other states, or they deny Jews the right to a state as they would to anybody else, or they believe that the Jews have got too much power in the media or in the worlds of public life and so on. And this view is becoming increasingly mainstream amongst educated middle-class folk, not on the sort of hard right, the old skinhead NF anti-Semites, but people just in everyday life. Lord Mann, who is a friend of this show, of course, has been on your show, in fact, you know, is a serious member of the House of Lords. I've known him for 40 years, and he's commissioned this, he's conducted this report, and he's dug into all, and he's revealed the extent of this hatred in mainstream British society.
Yes, Linda, it says the report commissioned by the Board of Deputies of British Jews, the country's largest Jewish community organisation, found anti-Semitism to be pervasive in the NHS, at universities and in the arts.
I think that's true, actually. Yeah, I think
Why do you think that's true? Have you had experience of it or knowledge of it?
Certainly in the media, I would say. I think that's a common understanding. I think we've got to kind of get to grips with it. I think, as Paul said, it's a really important subject that we have to deal with right now, because it's underpinning an awful lot of conflict that's going on in this country.
Paul, not so long ago, this headline could have read anti-Semitism rife among the Labour Party.
Yeah.
So what did the Labour Party do about it?
Well, we booted them out for a start-off, and we had a whole inquiry into it, and we got rid of those that were overtly anti-Semitic, and we had a big education programme so people could understand what it was, because it does change form. It's like an amoeba kind of, you know, morphing in each generation. So people need to know that when they're, you know, banging on about Palestine for perfectly laudable reasons, they may well be straying into anti-Semitic,
So what format did the education programme take?
Well, we got people from the Jewish Labour Movement, which is the affiliated body to the party, to go around and explain, as Jews, what anti-Semitism feels like, looks like, some of the tropes that you might not spot.
Paul, can I ask,
you know, is
criticism of Israel
no, of course not.
anti-Semitism?
No, I hate the government of Israel. You know, the government of Israel.
Some people would say that is anti-Semitic, though.
But no, because the
difference
difference is because criticising a political party or a government is different from saying a whole state shouldn't exist. And the people that are singing From the River to the Sea, for example, on the demos, are basically saying, wipe out the state of Israel and all the Jews living in it. And the people that say the slogan that I won't repeat that was quoted at Glastonbury, you know, the only thing that stopped all the Jews being massacred on the 7th of October was the IDF. So to say death to them is to say kill all the Jews. And these are things that middle-class people are saying out loud across dinner parties and in demos without understanding.
Why do they do it then? Are they trying to be trendy or
I think
cool,
there
or
is,
what?
For centuries, there has been a strain of anti-Semitism in the educated middle class, including on the left as well as the right. You know, we think of it perhaps as something of the right, but it's not.
It goes a long way back, though, doesn't it? Really?
Well, it goes back to I'm afraid, it goes back to the Christian Church and the myths around who killed Jesus and, you know, all of that stuff. So in the medieval times, all the anti-Semitic...
And a characterisation of Jews that, you know...
of course.
In Shakespeare and in literature...
And in Dickens, and it's a running sword. That's why I said it's the oldest hatred, and it has different forms in different decades. But here we are with this report on the front page of the Sunday Telegraph reminding us that it's here and now.
OK, should we look at the front page of The Observer tomorrow? The battle within is the headline. This is a report on power struggles at the BBC, how Gaza divided the BBC and threatens its independence. Lisa Nandy questions the broadcaster's leadership. Senior editors at the BBC have apparently lawyered up. And, Peter Blexley, has the BBC got a Gaza problem, a Palestine problem?
Well, the previous story segues perfectly into this.
It's all linked, isn't it?
From anti-Semitism in the middle classes to what clearly I think is anti-Semitism within the BBC. So how are we going to get rid of this scourge? How are we going to rid ourselves of this poison? That's the big question.
Apparently, Linda, the BBC breached their own editorial guidelines over 1,500 times in relation to Israel-Gaza coverage.
Yeah, I mean, some of the biggest criticism centres around the documentary where they used a young Hamas guy as one of the commentators.
Yeah.
And so that's caused a huge problem that won't go away. And to my mind, it hasn't been investigated properly. Lisa Nandy, it says here, questions the broadcaster's leadership, and I think that's absolutely at the heart of everything. If you look at what happened at Glastonbury, that really was a failure of leadership. There is no point in blaming the guy in the OB van for not pulling the switch quickly enough. I mean, the fact of the matter is that the Director General of the BBC was actually there at that event, and he should have been exercising leadership. I think he will come under a great deal of pressure in the next couple of months.
Paul, what are you hearing with regards to Lisa Nandy, the Culture Secretary? I mean, she says, she's questioning the BBC's leadership. Have you heard?
I think she's right to. I mean, she's the Culture Secretary, obviously. I mean, she was on the blower to Tim Davie within minutes of the incident at Glastonbury, and she's coming down hard on the BBC, saying what on earth is going on, and she's right to do that. I think we need to also have the select committees in Parliament look at this as well and haul some of these people in front of MPs on camera so we can quiz them and find out what the hell's going on.
Where Glastonbury was concerned, they were all asleep at the wheel that day. All of them.
Well, but yeah, also, why were they invited? Those particular acts, why were they invited in the first place? But, that's another question. But I think Lisa Nandy is doing the right thing here, and I think the BBC, I'm afraid, I'm a fan of the BBC, but they do have some very serious questions to answer.
That's right.
A really good mate of mine is Jewish and lives in North London, and he's seriously considering leaving London because of all this kind of interconnectedness and how it plays out on the streets.
If you talk to British Jews, most of them will have a suitcase packed by the front door. There's that sense
grab bag
of ever-present danger to their well-being.
Talking of anti-Semitism, I've just had a message on social media from somebody watching the show. I'm not going to name them. They've said, ask yourself why the Jews were kicked out of 109 countries long before World War II. Educate yourself, boy.
There you go.
I mean, is that anti-Semitism?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, of course it is.
What would you say to someone like that?
Well,
I wouldn't engage, to be honest.
I mean, there is a point at which you can't just do name calling, but you just have to engage, I suppose, at some level, trying and talk about why it was historically the Jews have been oppressed. But I mean, it's not because they haven't brought it on themselves, have they? Because that's an anti-Semitic trope in itself.
Yes. Right, should we look at the front page of The Sun on Sunday, if we have it? The story isn't on the front, actually. The story on the front of The Sun on Sunday tomorrow is a sex attack arrest on the set of EastEnders, if you care. It sounds fairly serious. A woman has complained, she was an extra, apparently, that a fellow extra has been behaving inappropriately with her. But the more interesting story on the inside of The Sun on Sunday tomorrow is plans to introduce digital ID cards, but Tony Blair's wet dream, but just for immigrants. That's being worked on by the government. So the digital document will prove the person has a right to live and work in the UK and be, Peter's laughing, and be uploaded to their mobile phone. But UK and Irish citizens will not have to carry one. Peter, I get the feeling this is probably mission creep towards a wider rollout.
Yeah, but undocumented people coming into the UK on boats, migration numbers being at the astronomical levels that they are through dependents and people overstaying visas and all of that, the other really big side of the problem of migration. We don't know who millions of people are in this country, and by suddenly rolling out an ID scheme, they are not going to honestly form an orderly queue and tell you exactly who they are, where they've come from, what their date of birth is, what their qualifications may be, and what their intentions are. It's pie in the sky.
Disagree completely, Peter. I think it's a really useful way to identify who people are, and particularly those that are being illegally employed as well within the black economy. And I think if we get into the way of thinking of the this is just a natural thing we do with people arriving. It's a really good, solid step. And crucially, the difference between now and when Blair tried to do it all those years ago is that we have the technology now, which we didn't have in those days.
Yeah, but there's a presumption that people are going to tell the truth in your side of the argument.
That's true of driving licences and passports and anything else, isn't it?
I think you've got to make a move towards this, and this could be the way to do it. And I think this is only sensible. I think Sir Alex Younger said in the week that, and he was the former boss of MI5. MI6 maybe, MI5
I think, wasn't it?
Anyway, he said that this was a really good idea and this was a key security measure. I think it is.
Do none of you have concerns about sort of mission creep towards Chinese-style authoritarianism, social credit scores?
No, I don't.
Central bank digital currencies?
Well, you've got to offset it against lawless Britain, haven't you?
Yeah.
If it's a step towards
that's how it
making the
works.
country...
It's like, we've got look, guys, we've got a problem that we can't sort out. I know, we've got a magical sort of mission creep scheme here. That we can help you out with this. Same as COVID. Oh, we've got some...
I wouldn't object to having an ID card.
Really?
No, not at all.
Well, I carry ID permanently, but you see, I'm a witness of truth, so everybody... What my documents actually are who I am. My concern is that people who come here, for example, on small boats, are not going to be perhaps best blessed with honesty when it comes to getting their details,
exactly. How do we know...
their date of birth, where they've come from, and the like.
Difficult, I know.
Well, that's a great point, Paul. So these people throw their phones and passports into the channel. We don't know who they are. So how are you going to dish them out ID cards?
That argument is true. Anybody applying for a passport or a driving licence or a blockbuster card or anything else, do they still have those? But, you know, people can always cheat and lie about a system, but the system itself should be robust enough to resist that, and I think it will then help weed out people who shouldn't be here so we can get rid of them.
But if it's somebody who's born in this country, you know, they can provide proof through a birth certificate and where they went to school and a record of education and driving licence, passport and the such like. It's far easier. People that just rock up completely undocumented, I don't think are going to be best blessed with a dose of honesty and provide correct details.
Fair point. Let's see from the... I mean, it's in the inside of the Sun at the moment. Let's see when there's actual legislation or a proper scheme and see whether it would work. But I think, you know, instinctively, it's just a good idea and it's another way we can stop this terrible trade.
What's Tony Blair's obsession with it? Because he's been banging on about it for decades.
I mean, you know, if you read his book, he's all about using technology, including AI, to solve all kinds of problems in the public services, and this is one of them. So obviously it's a grudge match from not getting it through when he was Prime Minister, but he's also now a tech bro who thinks there's a technological answer to it as well, and I think he's probably right.
I think he's quite sinister, actually.
Oh, he's a nuisance. What he started in 1997, the tentacles of that political correct movement, you know, that fear, you mustn't say the wrong thing and all that kind of stuff, spread far and wide into every corner of public life, started with education predominantly. It's got policing, it's got the NHS, it's got the whole of the civil service, and it's embedded and it's deep, and no other government has come in and stripped it out.
And
it's
you know
the blob.
Yeah, great point. And just as a final point, I will say it, call me a nutter if you want, or a conspiracy theorist. I mean, I say, what's the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth? And generally, it's about 6 months. But if you look at China, you've got social credit scores, you've got central bank digital currencies. You cannot criticise the CCP without your social credit score being reduced. When you have a low enough social credit score, you can't travel to neighbouring cities, maybe you can't travel to different countries, your access to financial institutions is reduced. So you're made essentially to fall in line like an obedient little citizen. And the concern is from civil liberties campaigners is that once we're all on this mass digital system where everybody's tracked and there's no way out, then you'll be forced to get your vaccine, you'll be forced to make sure your meat consumption is as low as possible in the name of net zero, so on and so on. You'll be forced to make sure...
I think that's catastrophising.
It's not. It's happening in China now.
But China is a dictatorship, isn't it? We're not a dictatorship, we're a democracy.
Oh, really?
Yes, really.
Well, sounds for now. Anyway, right, still plenty of time to grab your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date in the Great British Giveaway, an incredible £54,321. Here's all the details you need to win.
We're here at Down Hall in Essex to enjoy the finer things in life, and it's your chance to win £54,321 in cash. It's like having an extra £1,000 in your bank account each week for a whole year, which means that you'd be able to indulge in treats whenever you wanted to. That extra cash each week could send some of those day-to-day financial stresses packing this year to enable you to sit back, relax and do nothing. Make sure you don't miss out on our biggest cash giveaway to date.
For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
All right, good luck to you. Coming up, the former editor of the Sunday Express, David Wooding. I'm so glad he's back. He joins us to discuss the front page of the Sunday Express. There it is, and much more. The headline reads, PM's deal with France won't stop a single boat. Who would have thought it, eh? Back in a tick.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Welcome back to Breakfast. Now, experts are warning that lithium suppliers will not keep up with the demand for electric cars.
Yeah, researchers say domestic lithium production could grow as much by about 10 times what it currently is by 2030, but will still fall short of demand.
So this morning we're asking whether Labour's green car policy is unachievable.
This policy tells you everything you need to know about net zero. This isn't about giving people free choices about the technologies they want to use. This is about saying we're going to have mandatory targets. It's a sad indictment on our country if we've just normalised the government making these fundamental decisions for people's lives. The CEBR has warned that this policy might cost the country that's rigid targets for battery electric vehicles, known as the ZEV mandate. 80% of all vehicles will have to be electric vehicles by 2030, rising to 100% by 2035. And that policy is expected to cost £400 billion to the UK economy. And of course, car makers as well have warned that this policy is not achievable.
The latest stats say 47% of vehicles sold in Britain are now EVs. We're halfway there after just 2 years of the electric mandate. We've another 5 years to go. It's speeding up. And this charge that lithium, we're going to have a shortage of lithium, is nonsense. What it says is that there may be the consumption of lithium is increasing, so the domestic production will not be sufficient, but there's plenty in the world.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Hello, welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight, only on GB News. I'm delighted to be joined now by David Wooding, the former Sun man and editor at the Sunday Express. David, good evening. Thank you for your company. Should we take a look at the front page of your old paper, the Sunday Express? The headline reads, Prime Minister's deal with France won't stop a single boat. Where's this from, David? Give us your thoughts.
Well, it comes under the category of, well, knock me down with a feather, I think that one.
Yeah.
It's been unravelling all week here. And look at we've only got the front page at the moment, Ben, and it tells us very little because we only see the first 4 or 5 paragraphs. What seems to have happened here is that Keir Starmer has given the Sunday Express some exclusive words trying to explain how this will work. And the Sunday Express have gone off to David Jones, I think it is, the former Brexit minister, and asked him what he's thinking. And he's saying, quite understandably, well, it won't stop a single boat. And of course, we know this is the case because already we found out that the Italians and the Greeks are saying, oh, hold on a minute, we don't like this. If you're going to be sending these people back from Britain to France, they're all going to come across the continent back to where they originally came from, which of course is Greece and Italy. So that's a problem for them. And the people in the north of France, the mayors of some of the north west departments, or whatever you call them in France, are up in arms about this deal being struck to return migrants.
Yeah.
And now we find out as well, on top of that, that the French will be able to pick and choose which migrants they accept back. So when they do a check on these people and find they were criminals, the French might say, oh, no, we don't want them back. So it's not quite as good as it seems.
And David, there's an interesting, of the few paragraphs we have on the Sunday Express tomorrow, there's an interesting one. It says, in an exclusive message for Sunday Express readers, a defiance to Keir Starmer accused the Conservatives of insulting the French. Why does he care so much about pandering to the French? I mean, surely that's most of the problem, isn't it? Pandering to what the French think.
Well, if I may say so, I think that Emmanuel Macron insulted the British by yet again moaning about Brexit, blaming the migrant problem on Brexit. It's got nothing to do with Brexit, really. And it's an insult to the 52% of the population who voted for it.
Well, let's see what Labour man Paul Richards thinks of this. Paul, what do you want to say to David?
Well, I'm just curious, David, that the paper has obviously got these words from the Prime Minister, and it's interesting that the Prime Minister is dealing directly with the Express at one level. But isn't it also interesting that the response to that is David Jones, who up till yesterday or the day before wasn't even a household name in his own household? Now he's defected to Reform. He's on the front page of the newspapers. So do you think that it's significant that a Cabinet Minister should join Reform, A? And B, do you think there are any more in the wings?
Oh, there probably are. There are probably people... I mean, there was a rumour flying around that Jacob Rees-Mogg was toying with the idea because he wants to come back into Parliament, and probably the constituency he was in before may go to Reform, or he might be able to find another constituency that is more likely to vote Reform. And he's very popular with that kind of voter. So, you know, he's agonising over that. I mean, as far as I understand, he's staying with the Conservatives. But, yes, there must be loads of MPs agonising. We also saw Jake Berry, the former Tory chairman, has now reformed. He's now moved over to Reform. So, yes, I mean, politicians, we've seen it. We've seen, I remember one Labour politician joining the Tories and vice versa. I mean, not quite as common as this, but politicians do tend to jump. Not all of them.
These are cabinet ministers, David. And I just wonder whether this trickle will become a flood.
No, I don't think cabinet ministers will. No, I can't see it. But I do think there'll be a lot of MPs there who are being fated by Reform, because it would be good for Nigel Farage to get some heavyweight established politicians over, because part of his problem is that a lot of his candidates are unknowns, and we've seen that with the problems they've brought to his party once they've been elected.
Yeah.
David, can I just ask a question and go back to Sir Jake Berry? I mean, that's a tremendous loss for the Conservative Party and a really big gain for Reform, because he is acknowledged as being an expert campaigner and an organiser. And at the moment, that's what Reform needs, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. He's also somebody who connects with the working classes. He's from Liverpool. He's got. I've met him many times, and he's a guy who understands what the voters want. And there's far too many people who live in that Westminster bubble, as we all know. And Jake Berry is a good signing for Nigel Farage, and he's a good communicator too. So yes, they'll be looking to sweep up any of these discontented and wobbly Conservatives who think that they've got more chance of getting into power with Farage. But also, it's not only that, it's thinking whether Reform will form the next government. If they do, then of course they'll be in line for cabinet seats.
Yeah, but David, I mean, Reform voters say they are concerned about the influx of disaffected Tories going over to Reform. I mean, what's the point of just merging, becoming what the Conservatives were?
I mean, but he will need some kind of deal with the Conservatives if he gets in, because don't forget, Reform have got nobody in the Lords. So in order to get his legislative programme through, he will need some help from the Conservatives in getting it through the Lords. So this is not quite as simple as it sounds.
OK, we're going to move on to the Telegraph in just one sec, but Peter Blexley's been patiently waiting with a question for you, David.
David, have you seen Keir Starmer's message to the Sunday Express? And if so, how many times does he mention Nigel Farage?
Well, he doesn't mention Nigel Farage. I don't know about this. I haven't seen the quotes because I only got the front page like you. But he doesn't tend to mention Nigel Farage these days. He's aware of that. He tends to say other parties. So I would be surprised if he'd mention him by name. But clearly everything he is doing at the moment is aimed at shooting the Farage fox, because they are a serious threat to Labour. In fact, they're more of a threat to Labour than they are to the Conservatives at the moment.
Yeah, indeed. I think Kemi Badenoch speaking to Christopher Hope this week, I think, as far as I remember, accusing Reform of being left-wing because they are going after a lot of Labour voters, saying Sir Jake Berry as well was a massive supporter of net zero, so on and so on, two-child benefit cap. David, should we look at the Sunday Telegraph? Which story would you like to do? There's Labour handing millions to drivers to boost sales of electric cars.
We can start with that one if you like. Yes, I mean, this is quite staggering, really. They're giving, is it £700 million in subsidies to help people buy new electric cars. Now, I don't know if you've ever looked at buying an electric car. I had a company car which was electric. I know they cost an absolute fortune. And most people are saying they're also worried about not the lifespan of the battery, but how far it will get you before it conks out. So, and there aren't enough places to plug in. And when you do plug in, you have to sit around for an hour or two. So they're going to build more of these stations where you can charge your battery up. Also, wires under the road so that it saves people living in terraced council houses can buy them. Now, this is the other point I'm worried about. I don't think people who live in terraced council houses will be buying these immediately. This will be a subsidy to the better off people who fancy buying themselves a Tesla, which cost a fortune. Yeah. So, but they want to go net zero, and they've got to encourage people to buy these cars. This policy was dumped by the Tories, incidentally. Yeah. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's a subsidy, but this government has got a lot of problems in terms of filling the black hole from Rachel Reeves's budget.
Yeah, indeed.
Or the Tories, whichever way you want to look at it.
Heidi Alexander, the Transport Secretary, she will announce tomorrow, tomorrow, £63 million to fund tens of thousands of new charging points. So maybe that alleviates your concerns, David. I don't know. I prefer, sorry, I'll be honest, a gas-guzzling Jag 4x4, whatever. I love the smell. Petrol's my favourite smell. I love the sound, the vibration, the engine. I've driven some courtesy electric cars. I mean, they're fast, but they're a bit boring, really. One more on the front page of the Telegraph, if we can take a look. So according to the Sunday Telegraph tomorrow, David, Rachel Reeves is plotting a £1.7 billion tax raid in the autumn, which retailers have warned will accelerate the decline of the high street. Is it more bad news for our high street?
Yeah, I think this dovetails in with the story we've just been discussing, Ben, about giving subsidies for cars. Again, that's more money going out. And we've had those two U-turns on the pensioners' allowance, the winter fuel allowance, and on the benefits, the welfare reforms, and so more money has to be found from taxes. And we're now talking about subsidising cars. Where's all this money coming from? Well, it's going to come from increased taxes on businesses, and the businesses are saying this will be the death knell for the high streets. I think Marks and Spencer quoted in there saying there'll be 111 stores at threat or something like that. And so, yes, the high street already got its problems, and it says at the top right-hand corner of this Sunday Telegraph, the pubs will be gone by some not too long in the future.
20 years, in the next 20 years,
pubs will be gone in 20 years. So, yeah, the high street is... Have you been down your local high street lately? It's full of charity shops. You're the only one who gets subsidised business rates.
Vape shops, coffee shops,
barbers. And these change which close. We've already seen Coat, the restaurant chain, that's now in doubt because that's for sale. So there's lots of trouble in the high street, and this will only make it worse. So there'll be a hue and cry if she goes ahead with that. But a while to go yet before she does it.
Great shout on the pub situation. The front page of the Telegraph, as you said, top right-hand corner, pubs will be extinct in the next 20 years. How depressing. And Marks & Spencer, David, as you mentioned, they are leading a fight back among Britain's major retail brands who have told ministers the new shopping tax will force them to put up prices. Linda has a quick question, if you don't mind.
Very quickly, the irony of all this, of course, is, David, is that the pubs will become extinct in the next 20 years. The high street's going to be impacted by Rachel Reeves' latest moves. Those are both community hubs, if you want to see it that way. I mean, the irony of this situation is we really will become an island of strangers if we don't get out and meet each other.
Yes, and the high streets have got this added problem of people buying stuff online. So that increases the problems. And you've seen in some high streets that the shops are being turned into apartments now. So our high street's going to become a new residential area. I mean, lots of coffee shops turning up because that's one way of getting people in to come and have coffee. But there's only a limit to the number of coffee shops and restaurants you can have. And of course, again, as we've seen, some of these restaurants are closing down because people don't have the money to go out. So it's a tight squeeze for everybody.
Great. David, thank you very much. Any other stories that have caught your eye quickly before we let you go?
Well, the splash of the Sunday Telegraph was that I haven't seen the Sunday Times yet, but the splash of the Sunday Telegraph is a big one, which is bringing up for next week Lord Mann and Dame Penny Mordaunt on the anti-Semitism.
Should we take another look at the front if we can get the graphic up?
Among the middle classes, yeah. Well, they're saying it's rife among the middle classes, which is quite shocking, really. And they say they were stunned into silence. I think Lord Mann said that in the piece. Which this report will be quite a bombshell when it comes out on Tuesday, I'm sure.
What is just very quickly? What is the what is this phenomenon with the middle class being obsessed with anti-Semitism? Well, I mean, how do you explain it? What's going on there?
Well, I think this is my theory. Having read that story, my theory is that it's the people I would call guilt trip socialists. You know, these people who have gone to private schools and then they go to university and then they become raving lefties. And they're far more extreme than... They're sort of in the Jeremy Corbyn camp. And part of that is to be pro-Palestine. And, of course, often that crosses the boundary into anti-Semitism. And, you know, I have some friends who are constantly posting on social media about Israel. Well, you know, understandably, there's a lot to criticise in what Israel have done, but it really does get close to the mark sometimes. And I think what this report is going to expose is that there are a lot of people you wouldn't expect to be anti-Semitic who actually are.
Yeah. OK, David, really great stuff. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. As always, hopefully see you next week. Thank you, David Wooding, former editor of the Sunday Express, and indeed my colleague at The Sun. I was just a young boy when I joined The Sun, and David was there. I can't remember what his job was.
You still are a young boy, Ben, let me tell you.
I don't know, getting on a bit. First grades are popping through, but, yeah, not as young as I was 15 years ago. Anyway, coming up next, should we be getting ready for war with Russia? One former general seems to think so. More front pages coming imminently on Ben Leo Tonight. Back in a sec.
Good afternoon and welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Well, it's going to be a very hot weekend to come with strong summer sunshine out there, but always some low cloud just lingering in the east. So a ridge of higher pressure is extending across the UK, keeping things settled with low pressures out towards the east and west. So plenty of late evening sunshine out there for many of us. The odd shower maybe across the far west of Northern Ireland, but otherwise later we'll see the return of this low cloud from the North Sea push its way further inland. So cloudier skies expected more widely, especially across the southeast, but a warm night to come. Temperatures not dropping far below 16 or even 18 or 19 degrees. So that leads to a warm start to Sunday, a bit more cloud in the forecast, and that cloud will just linger across coastal areas as we start Sunday morning. Best of the sunshine across western Scotland to start. Northern Ireland, fine, dry. Plenty of wall-to-wall sunshine, and likewise for the majority of Wales and the southwest of England, but cloudier skies across eastern areas to start Sunday morning. So as we go through Sunday, like I said, there will be a bit more cloud in the forecast compared to Saturday. We may even see some showers just bubbling up across northern parts of England, perhaps even parts of Wales as we go through the afternoon. But many of us still seeing bright or sunny spells out there. It may not be as hot as Saturday, but temperatures still climbing widely up to 29, possibly even 30 degrees. Now, a bit of a change comes into store as we go later on into Sunday as low pressure starts moving in from the west. So cloudier skies, especially across the southwest of England with the odd shower. And then that leads into a more unsettled start on Monday and Tuesday with showers, longer spells of rain, temperatures generally returning to average.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Ben Leo tonight on GB News. Let's return to the front pages, starting with the Sunday Times tomorrow. Another flurry of good stories. Child dies with measles as jab rates plummet. There's been a death in Liverpool where 1 in 4 children aren't vaccinated, prompting a new warning over the virus. Another great picture of the Princess of Wales at Wimbledon today. It's the men's final tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah. Sinner and Alcaraz. Who's going to win? Very quickly.
Oh, not very good at guessing.
Don't watch it.
Oh, I'll say Alcaraz.
Alcaraz hat-trick.
Yeah, all right, good man. And yes, looking at the top of the Sunday Times, former Reform MP James McMurdoch was paid salary by bank when he took out COVID loans. Of course, Mr McMurdoch has since stepped down from the party. He's now an independent MP and sits on the backbenches with, I think, next to Corbyn and Rupert Lowe.
Can his constituency actually bounce him out?
You can have a recall petition of the voters to get rid of him.
Yeah.
If he had any honour, though, he would resign his seat and force a by-election, wouldn't he, and stand as an independent?
Because it certainly looks like he's in the doo-doo over this.
Well, we'll see. The Sunday Mirror has a royal story. Royal secret weapon? I'll take it as a compliment. So the Duchess of Edinburgh, Sophie, has told of her pride at being a royal secret weapon. She said she loved the compliment as she gave a rare interview about her role helping women caught in global conflicts. Right, shall we move on? Because Britain apparently must prepare for war with Russia within 5 years by building bunkers and investing in air defences. That's according to the former head of the army. So General Sir Patrick Sanders, he stood down as Chief of the General Staff last summer, said the UK needed to accept that war with Putin by 2030 Russia was a realistic possibility. Panel, is it time to start preparing for war?
Well, there's a friend of mine called Luke Akehurst MP who raised this in Parliament a few months ago. We are woefully under-defended when it comes to air defences. And you think of, like, the missile attacks in Ukraine or on Israel from Hamas. You know, we don't have anything like the air defences we need against missiles. So we definitely need to invest in that. Bunkers I'm not so sure about, but I think we also do need to look at increasing the size of the armed forces. And I've argued for a while now that the army should double in size, which will help protect us, but also get all those young people into trades and professions too. But I think we have to just rethink where we are, you know. This is a genuine threat and we need to rearm and we need to take this terribly seriously.
I mean, where's the money for that coming from, Paul?
Well, quite.
Tax and spend?
Yeah.
Well, we've put more money into defence and I don't want to see it all go into the contractors. I want to see it into actual jobs in defence.
I mean, it depends where the war with Russia is. I wouldn't send my kids to Ukraine to fight in filthy trenches in the Donbass.
Well, my son is going to join the army soon.
Would you be happy with him going to Ukraine to fight Russia?
I would be happy for him fighting to defend this country.
Yes, that's a different prospect.
It certainly is.
Yeah.
I may be less happy if he was to die on a battlefield on behalf of Ukraine.
What about NATO? What about if NATO...
Because he's signing up to join the British army, not the Ukrainian
But we are
army.
part of NATO, so let's say Article 5 was triggered.
Ukraine's not.
Yeah, but Ukraine aren't.
No, sure, but let's say the Russians invaded Estonia, where there are lots of British troops stationed, and your son may be one of those in the future. At that point, would you... I mean, this is a genuine open question.
If it's a NATO country... and there is a conglomerate force, a NATO force, and he's a part of that. He's signed on the dotted line, off he trots.
Because my fear is this is not going to be like Dad's army with the arrow going across Europe, and then we have to fight them on the beaches. We're going to have to fight them in the Baltics, probably.
Talking of Dad's army,
defending our own turf.
I think that a home guard should be established as part of this, and I can't wait to sign up.
I will sign
and
up
go for a uniform fitting. I might have to lose a couple of pounds, obviously.
I think they'll be lucky to have you.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I've said long. I agree with you completely, wholeheartedly. You know, of course, if Russia was invading a NATO country, if they were making tracks across Poland towards the UK, of course you'd send your... Of course I'd fight for my country, because I love my country.
But
of course my boys would.
I think one of the biggest threats, though, is cyber warfare. I think we're not really talking about that enough, and the Russians have already shown they can do a great deal of
Well, they're taking down NHS trusts like...
absolutely.
Like willy-nilly, week in, week out. OK, let's look at the front page of the Mail on Sunday. A big royal exclusive. It's the first step, apparently, towards reconciliation. That's according to a royal insider telling Charlotte Griffiths, the editor-at-large of the Mail on Sunday, and indeed friend of Ben Leo tonight. Key aides to King Charles and the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, are meeting for talks near Royal Palace as they bid to repair their broken relationship. I mean, Linda, should the King forgive Harry after his treachery?
I don't even think that the King would characterise it that way. I think he wants this sorted out, and I don't think it's a question of forgiveness. I think it's a question of the firm, members of the firm, sitting round the table and sorting things out, because, frankly, this has escalated to a degree way beyond its actual importance. I mean, here we've got two brothers who are, you know, at each other's throats half the time.
Sorry, one's behaved drastically worse than the other. I mean, what's Prince William done?
Well, we don't know that. We don't know what.
Well, he's certainly not gone to US media names and spilt the family business and written books and...
And I'm not denying that. Harry's been a little bit silly. But at the end of the day, I mean, surely they can sort this out. This happens in families all across the land. You must be...
Well, it doesn't. Some people don't forgive the treachery.
No, they don't.
I mean...
But they need to not sweat the small stuff. Get round that table and get talking.
This meeting was at an exclusive members' club.
Yes.
And talking of exclusives, I can reveal that I brokered this meeting. I was there. We got absolutely smashed, the three of us. We drank the best champagne, the best brandies. We smoked lardies as big as a baby's arm. No, I hope that's what happened, and I hope they fell into each other's arms.
And sorted it out.
Had a kiss and got it sorted.
Yeah.
Fathers and sons, don't fall out. Brothers, don't fall out.
No, I know. Family first.
All right. OK, coming up, big weekend fails, including a rather extraordinary clip of the Unite boss, the union boss, or one of the bosses anyway, absolutely laying in to Angela Rayner. Back in just a tick on Ben Leo Tonight.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
It's hot and sunny for the Greek islands at the moment, and plenty of hot sunshine in southern parts of Spain and Portugal too. But for northern Spain and northern Portugal, a bit more cloud coming in off the Atlantic and some outbreaks of rain possible here. Small chance of a shower in Catalonia as well, but some heavy showers likely over Italy, particularly affecting Rome. There's that sunshine in Greece, which will continue into next week, and the showers in Rome should clear away and temperatures will be rising here into next week too.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's Newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
Is J.K. Rowling an extremist, radicalised TERF?
It's extraordinarily patronising to suggest that a woman who's created whole new magical worlds from her own imagination has to be radicalised by other people in order to form her own views. That in itself I find extremely patronising. And, you know, a man may think that women don't have our own rich inner life and form our own political views, but we do, as Nana's just demonstrated. But secondly, there's nothing radical about believing that men and women are material realities, and sometimes in law, in policy, in life, that matters. That's her position. It's a very common, in fact, it's a majority position.
James, what is a woman?
But that's Nana.
Well, I'm just wondering. Well, it's just a simple question because if you, no. I'm just asking, what is a woman then? Because do you believe that a man can become a woman and a woman can become a man?
Yes, because man and woman is gendered.
So what is a woman? So what is a woman?
There is male and there is female, which is sex. This is the problem that I think a lot of you have. I'm a feminist. I believe in women's rights. I believe in women's safety. But the problem here is we are focusing on an absolute minority of people who have no, when you look at it in the round, who have no threat to women. Statistically,
you don't know that. You listen. In the way the threat to women.
Sorry, not in the way that men are. This is the whole problem. Is that you saying man dressing up as a woman?
Yes.
That's despicable, Nana.
Well, it's the truth.
That is not the reality.
What else?
Nana, do you have any trans friends?
I have plenty of them.
Do you mix with trans people?
I have mixed with trans people. I mix with all people.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight. Time now for Big Weekend Fails, where we pick a moment from the week, or even indeed the week's gone by in my case, which we think was an absolute fail, and discuss why. This is mine. This is the Chief of West Midlands Police. A few weeks ago, granted. Self-explanatory. Take a look.
Wahi Guru Ji Ki Fate. Good morning, Chief Constable Guildford. I'd like to wish all our officers and staff and the community my very best wishes for this coming Vaisakhi.
So there we go. That's the Chief Constable of West Midlands Police, Peter. Look, I don't care whether it's Islam, whether it's the Sikh or whatever, Buddhism, or just I want police to police and not. What's he wearing headgear like that for as well? What's your take on that?
No wonder there's a crime wave. With people like that in charge. Is it surprising? I mean, look at him. I mean, he wouldn't strike fear at the heart of serious and organised crime, would he?
Why do they do that? Why do they feel the need to come and celebrate this religion, that religion, this month, that month?
They're brainwashed by the College of Policing and by the National Police Chiefs Council. This wokery, liberal, fluffy, impregnated nonsense which is ruining policing on a daily basis. There you have it. There it is, the perfect illustration of
Peter, may I suggest next week when you're on the show you say what you really think and don't hold back, if that's all right?
I'll try.
Thank you, my friend. Right, this is Linda's. Let's take a look at Linda's clip.
To shout so much more and say 20,000 is not enough, 30,000 is not enough. Saturation point, because what does it matter if we have to wait another week for a hospital visit?
So that's Labour MP Rachel Maskell. What's she banging on about?
She's a nutcase. I mean, what she's saying there is that we need to reach saturation point with refugees.
Oh,
she says it doesn't matter if the schools are a bit overloaded. It doesn't matter if the hospitals are a bit overloaded. It doesn't matter if you can't do this and you can't do that, because, frankly, that's small beer to us, as long as we reach saturation point. I mean, what drives that kind of comment?
Paul, have a word. Get her sectioned, will you?
I don't think she's read the memo, that's for sure, you know.
That's a pretty sickening comment, actually. I'd also ask her, if I saw her, how many refugees have you got living in your spare bedroom? None, I suspect. I might be wrong. Anyway,
She's not well.
She's not well?
No, clearly.
Oh, well, I'm sure she'll deny that. Let's take a look at Paul's fail. This is Sharon Graham, the boss of Unite, laying into Angela Rayner.
From defence all the way through to buses, from every region of our nation, and it was almost a unanimous vote, bar 5 people from 800, that said they wanted Angela Rayner suspended and they wanted us to redefine our relationship with Labour and seriously look at that relationship.
Right, so, Peter, your fail is also Angela Rayner in this row. So it's a massive row between Rayner and Unite. The lady there we just had on called her despicable. She said she acted in a despicable way. What's going on here?
Well, Sharon Graham has decided, who is the General Secretary of Unite, which is the union I belong to as well, and she's decided to pick a fight of all the people in the Labour cabinet she could pick a fight with Angela Rayner, who is a lifelong trade unionist, left school at 16, earned her spurs in the Unison union, and is arguably the best friend of the trade unions inside the cabinet, and yet she's picked this spat with the Deputy Prime Minister, booted her out of the union. Angela Rayner said she'd already left, so they're now having a row who left when. But what a stupid fight to pick. And it's all to do with the bins in Birmingham, over which...
So whose side are you on, sorry?
I'm on the side of Angela Rayner.
Right. So, sorry, Peter, go on.
This row began because Angela Rayner said to Birmingham Council, just get it sorted. Just get it sorted. Bin men were expected to take a pay cut of £8,000 a year. No wonder they're up in arms. No wonder their unions got the hump. No wonder they've got the hump with Rayner. She's supposed to be old woman of the people, Socialist Party, Labour. Do me a favour. She wants bin men to take a pay cut.
She's not the leader of Birmingham Council, though, is she?
She told them to sort it out, and not in the favour of the bin men.
And they should have sorted it out, and that's the failings of the leadership within Birmingham. But why is Sharon Graham picking a fight with the Deputy Prime Minister? She wants to make a name for herself, get a bit of publicity, curry favour with her own union members, who don't like the Labour Party very much. But
she's a trade unionist. She's looking after her members' interests. That, funnily enough, is her job.
But why is she picking a fight with another trade unionist, then?
Because she sided on behalf of Birmingham City Council.
But it's all bad news for Keir Starmer, isn't it? All of it.
I mean, who are Labour for, really? Not farmers, not businesses, not old people, not the unions.
Well, I don't think Sharon Graham is speaking on behalf of the rank-and-file membership of Unite. She would claim that she would, but the conference that met was the elite...
well, you can vote her out next time, then.
OK, right, stick with us on Ben Leo tonight. Late edition is coming up next with the entertaining Leo curse. We'll get stuck into more stories from tomorrow's front pages. See you in just a tick, but first, let's get your weather.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good evening and welcome to a GB News weather update from the Met Office. Well, we've got another warm day in store on Sunday, then turning more changeable Monday and Tuesday with temperatures returning closer to average. So we've had this ridge of high pressure extending across the UK through today, bringing widely fine and settled conditions. There'll be lengthy late evening sunshine across the west through this evening, but out towards the east, low cloud returning from the North Sea and pushing further inland. So cloudier skies across the Midlands and the southeast as we start Sunday morning. But it's going to be a warm and uncomfortable night once again. Temperatures 12 to 17 or even 18 degrees. So a warm and humid start to the day on Sunday. Plenty of sunshine out towards the west into Scotland, but low clouds still lingering across eastern coasts. Plenty of blue sky across Northern Ireland to start the day. Likewise for Wales and the southwest of England, plenty of sunshine here. A bit more cloud just into parts of the southeast as we start Sunday morning. And in general, there'll be a little bit more cloud in the forecast on Sunday overall. But otherwise, plenty of sunshine once again across Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, southwest England. A few showers may just bubble up into Wales and some parts of England as we go into the afternoon. But for many, it's fine, it's dry and it is warm once again. Perhaps not quite as hot as what we've seen on Saturday. So as we go through Monday, that's when we see a change. So low pressure becoming more dominant with showery outbreaks of rain spreading in from the west and moving its way north and eastwards. So some heavy downpours for northern parts of England and into Scotland where it could turn thundery. Showery again on Tuesday, then a mixed picture on Wednesday. Temperatures generally feeling a little bit closer to average. Bye-bye.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
£54,321 cash could be yours. Cash that you could spend however you like. It's like having an extra £1,000 each week for a whole year to play with. Someone is guaranteed to win this amazing amount of cash. So make sure that someone could be you. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Good evening, it's 11 p.m, I'm Ben Leo, and this is Ben Leo Tonight, late edition. On the front page of the Mail on Sunday tomorrow, could the War of the Windsors be nearing an end? Because key aides of King Charles and Prince Harry have met to begin reconciliation talks. Elsewhere in the Sunday Telegraph, Chancellor Rachel Reeves is allegedly, of course she is, plotting a £1.7 billion tax raid on businesses. Could the pub become extinct in the next 20 years? And the Sunday Express isn't convinced by the Prime Minister's deal with France. I'm asking, is anyone? And also tonight, take a look at this.
Called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
It's an all-time classic, isn't it? President Donald Trump has called for American TV personality Rosie O'Donnell to be stripped of her American citizenship after calling her